And I'm telling you, most parents end up being some toddlers when they are trying to force their adult children to do what they want them to do. You need to grow. Hear me, parents. Your children love you, but they will leave you. They are not the do as I say generation. It ain't happening. Just because you have a parent does not mean you are emotionally healthy. Get healthy. Parents and their adult children are in conflict. This is not new. No, but it's different. And it is different in a lot of ways. Sure, every generation has had its conflict. And the conflict has been because of all of the changes and the newness and things just evolving. But it's different now. And I don't need to tell you it's different. The babies who are born different than they've ever been. They're far more advanced. They even come here with some specialized stuff we have never seen before. We see children with their heads sitting up when they're just hours old. Y'all, if you haven't figured out that things have changed and that your children have not come for you, but they've come for purpose, then you are about to be in for a really rocky ride. And I'm telling you that being in a competition with your kids, because that's what it's boiling down to. This video is actually a follow-up to the last video I did on Percy Sr. and Percy Jr., Master P and Romeo, because their conflict or their public beef is more than a public beef. And for every parent who will allow their demonstration to be an example of what not to do, then it puts you in a position to have a better relationship with your adult child. Because I'm telling you, those young adults up to about that early 30 range, y'all, they came pre-programmed for purpose. And your conditioning is going to prevent you from being able to allow them the space to develop and be what they came to be. And I'm telling you, they're choosing purpose over you. So if you want your kids, then stick around. It won't be easy. But if you want a relationship with them, I hope you have an ear to be able to hear for some form of expansion, because that's what it's going to take. All right, that's what we're talking about today. Be right back. Hi, my name is Zara Green, and I'm glad you're here. So I'm going to give 5 reasons why parents have always been in conflict with their adult children. But to really make this relevant for today, is it an exhaustive list? No, but I think it's a darn good starting point. Okay, so this first one is a big one, and it's where I'm going to spend most of my time. Let's go. Number 1, you have different values and beliefs. Now, for some parents, they're like, what do you mean they have different values and beliefs? I could hear some of y'all now. They're my child. They have my values and my beliefs. See, that's why y'all end up disappointed. Because I hear parents all the time, and you've heard parents too, say things like, I didn't raise you like that. I mean, generation after generation, parents have not yet figured out that their children don't come here for them. As much as you believe in the bring up a child in the way that he should be, and when he's old, he shall not depart from it, people come for their own path and purpose. And I'm going to keep hitting this over and over, that and people possession is not a good thing for parents. It's really not. Your children are not your possessions. They did not come for you. They came for themselves. They came for their own path and purpose. And unless and until you get that and understand that as they grow older, they are likely going to have their own values and belief systems. That is, unless you have groomed them that they do not have permission to do so in your presence, then they are what you need them to be in front of you. And when they are not around you, they are something else. And that's what happens with many of you, especially when it comes to particular dogma and religion and that kind of thing. You try and raise your children in ways that you think are safe, in the ways that have become safe for you. And I'm telling you, this generation don't give a damn about what is safe for you. They have come to do what they came to do. Now, we're all conditioned for sure. And I say this all the time, what parents definitely pass on to their children is their conditioning. And for many children, they are fighting like nobody's business to get away from the ways that you've conditioned them. And in previous generations, we may not have been able to break away from our parents' conditioning as quickly or as easily. But this generation, they were doing it all along. You thought your conditioning was working, but they were breaking away all along. And they will walk away from you, I'm telling you. So there has to be some flexibility and some malleability. But I'm telling you, if you want to have a relationship with your children, it's probably going to have to come from you. Because unless and until you get to the point that you understand that they don't have to take on your value systems. Whew, I know that's a hard one, y'all. I know it's a hard one for most of y'all. They don't have to take on your value systems. They don't have to take on your beliefs. Because if they are your beliefs and they take them on and they've got a purpose, and they are trying to carry on your beliefs, but your beliefs are hindering the purpose that they came for, then it will limit them. That is what limiting beliefs are. They take on your beliefs, they are then limited. They can't, okay? And quite honestly, now that I'm talking about this, I recognize that this isn't just about parent and adult-child relationships. This is anybody. Because nobody can take on somebody else's limited beliefs because we outgrow our own beliefs. So they're certainly going to outgrow yours. Okay? Communication, or shall I say miscommunication. Miscommunication, misunderstanding, all of that. Most of the time, it is because parents, most people, not just parents, do not even understand that we don't come here blank canvas. So a lot of parents have these little people, and they think that everything that they think and everything that they are going to be groomed and imparted by the parents. No, your children didn't come here blank canvas. They came here not just with their own path and purpose, but their own ways of being, their own thought processes, the way that they were going to process information, how they're going to interpret the world. So parents don't have as much imprinting on their children as they think, which is why there's so much conflict even in the beginning. Parents will look at their children and try and form those kids and change those kids and mold those kids into what they want them to be, rather than allowing the children to teach them who they are. Did you hear me? The first student in every parent-child relationship needs to be the parent. And for parents of adult children who are in conflict with them, I can almost guarantee, and I'm saying almost only because I ain't trying to fight with y'all, because some of y'all just ain't gonna hear anyway. But if you were the first student in the relationship, then you would have allowed your child to teach you who they are and then guide them accordingly. You wouldn't have as much conflict. But then that would mean you would have had to have understood temperament yourself. And what's likely happened, and what happens with most children, is that their parents parent based on their own conveniences, based on what's comfortable for a parent, not a parent becoming what they need to become for the child. And what your children are learning is that they need to do that for their children, and very oftentimes they are becoming parents in their early 30s, late 20s, early 30s, and recognizing how they were parented and what they don't want to do with their children. And now we're in a space where there's enough support behind them with all of the changes in our world that says, no, we're no longer going to parent that way. Your adult children are making decisions that no generation has ever made before. Surely we've had some anomalies within each generation. I believe I'm one in mine, who came here knowing they came with purpose, knowing that the stuff around them, all the things around them, limited beliefs, all that stuff never really worked for those who come to break molds. Your children came to break a whole lot of conditioning. Our world has changed. Let me talk about a few of the ways that our world has changed, y'all. Hear me, parents. Your children love you, but they will leave you. If you want a relationship with them, they already feel like they're not being respected. They already feel like you're dismissive. And they feel like that because you have been. They are not the do as I say generation. happening? We just went through so much with this lockdown and pandemics, all of the betrayals, particularly in the US. Your children see all of that. They are looking at us and going, why did y'all put up with all this crap for so long? Here's what you need to understand. It puts them in a position where it makes it difficult to even respect your decisions. And they can see things that you couldn't see. You see, and for even the people on that last video that I talked about who are, these children are just disrespectful, they're not disrespectful because they disagree. They just disagree, and you've got to be okay with that. If you want to have a relationship with your adult children. Number 3, different life choices, even goals. You had different goals for yourself, have goals for your children, made choices for them when they couldn't make them for themselves. And let's just tell the truth. When parents have children, they decide very oftentimes, even before the children even get here. When the boy gets here, then the boy's going to be like this. And when the girl gets here, the girl's going to be like this. You have in your mind, you've already decided what your children are going to be. And when they get here and they are not any of those things, you already start to try and mold them into what you want them to be. They come with their own path of purpose. And I believe that's been the case for all of us. The difference is the older generations were willing to be conditioned. And these children today are breaking free from the conditioning a lot sooner. A lot of people in our age group still have not broken free from the conditioning, still doing what their parents wanted them to do, never got to live out their own lives and dreams and wishes and desires, because doing that would have meant breaking away from what their parents wanted for them. I'm telling you, these children came here to do some different stuff. They don't give a rat's behind what you want for them. They care about what they came for and what they want. Now, do I understand that there are some that are just seem like they are just way off the beating path and, just not doing what? Listen, it's still their lives. You're going to have to figure out how to be a little less hands-on. They're making different choices than you would have made. It is their life. And especially if we're talking lifestyles and they have decided to have different lifestyles than you want them to have. You're either going to back off or you're going to lose them. That's where we are today. This next one will probably ruffle these feathers even more. Number 4, money, finances. Let me say this up front. The past few years with COVID and shutdowns and all that stuff, there are some adult children who are having a more difficult time. I believe each situation is certainly different in this. But I could probably do a series on this particular one because parents very oftentimes have used money to govern their kids. If you are still using money as a tool to control your children, then it is not your children who need the help, it's you. You are the one who has been in the driver's seat of that the whole time. And there are a whole lot of parents, families. There are a whole lot of families who use money as a means of control. Oh, you gonna do this? Oh no, they gonna do it because they need me with this. Let me ask you a question, parent. If you are using money to control your child, could it be that you, and I'm saying could it be, I ain't telling you it's the case, I'm asking you a question. Could it be that you have used money rather than teaching your children how to be independent of you where money is concerned? If you haven't taught them how to be independent of you, and I ain't going into detail about what that is, I'm just asking you a question. Because if your children, your adult children, are still dependent on you for finances, there's some breakdown. Something ain't go right there. Something ain't go right there. Now, I know some parents are like, why are you saying this when my child could be listening to this? Look, you got to be able to have open and honest conversations with your children. And if you can't, then that leads us into the next point. Number 5, a lack of trust. Talk about a two-way street. Now, here's where we can absolutely talk about a two-way street, where parents will definitely say, no, I don't trust them. And children can say the same thing. No, I don't trust my mother or father either. What you mean a child don't trust their mama or daddy? Oh, it goes both ways. Now, trusting relationships are things that you build because you have respect for one another. It's not because you are the parent and you just trust me because I'm your parent. I'm the one who's always taking care of you. I'm the one who always has your best interest at heart. You might love your child, but just because you have what you consider their best interest at heart does not mean that your adult child does not know what is best for them, even if it's not what you agree with. If you want to start building a trusting relationship with your adult children, because if you have adult children and the trusting relationship isn't there, then there were things that didn't happen before anyway, or there was some breakdown along the way. You got to be open and honest about where you are if you are going to build a better relationship. And I'm telling you, if it's not good now, it's not just automatically going to get better. You have to work toward that. If it's not good, and you have a young adult child, in 10 years, it's not any better. In 20 years, it's not any better. It doesn't get any better unless it is intentionally worked on. Now, some of them don't need to be worked on. Some of them, the children they come in for their own path and purpose, and this is stuff people don't want to hear. There are adult children who still feel like they are in prison every time they come to visit you. I'm coming to do something out of obligation, not out of love, not because this is a loving, honest, flowing relationship. No, it's out of obligation. And I'm telling you, these young people are no longer doing anything out of obligation. So if you want a loving, honest, open relationship with your children, then you, mama, daddy, have to really be able to start to open up so that they can start to trust you with their stuff, whether you understand it or not. To be able, they don't need your approval to live the lives they want to live. Have some flexibility. Get malleable so that your children know that they can trust you with their differences. They don't have to be who you are. They don't have to continue to do the stuff that you wanted them to do if they are not hurting anybody. If who they are, how they live, what their lifestyles are, is not taking anything from anybody else or creating hardship for you. When I say hardship, I don't mean that your feelings are hurt. Just because age ain't got nothing to do with wisdom. Age has nothing to do with emotional intelligence. And I'm telling you, most parents end up being some toddlers when they are trying to force their adult children to do what they want them to do. You need to grow. Just because you are the parent does not mean you are emotionally healthy. Get healthy so you can have a good relationship with your adult children. Because it's not that you can't be influential to your adult children, but what are you influencing them with? Develop, grow, expand. Stop trying to force limited understanding on your adult children. That's all I'm saying. All right, I'm done. Now that may have been a lot for some of you. I don't know. Let me know. I'll see you in the comments. I invite you to subscribe, like, share. You know somebody who needs this? Send it to them. They might not be happy with me, but at least you can start them to thinking. All right, that's all I've got for you today. It's your life. Choose it just as it is. Own it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Change it. As long as you can breathe and learn, it can get better. From somewhere out here in these South American streets. Ciao for now.